Welcome to the Stock Guy Analysis. Today we're diving into a really high-stakes idea for the stock BMNR. The question is pretty simple, right? How does a stock trading around $40 have a price target of $75? And maybe more importantly, what's the one single event that this entire thesis hangs on? Let's get into it. Okay, so the number that's got everybody talking is 85%. That's the potential upside from where the stock is now to the consensus analyst price target. And, some are even looking at a high target of $90. That's a wild 122% gain. But listen, gains like that, they don't just magically appear. You need a powerful catalyst. So what is that catalyst? What's the one event that could unlock all this potential? Well, it's not a new product launch, and it's not some surprise earnings beat. No, it's something way bigger, and it's coming up really, really soon. The entire argument, the whole shebang, it all comes down to one big macroeconomic trigger, inflation, and specifically the upcoming consumer price index. This CPI report. That's right. This whole multi-billion-dollar investment case is riding on a single inflation report. Now, that sounds like a massive gamble, and well, it is. But to really get a handle on the potential reward here, you have to understand the chain reaction the bulls are banking on. So this slide here, this lays out the entire playbook. Step 1, the market gets what they call a cool CPI report. Inflation is looking like it's under control. Step 2, this gives the Federal Reserve the green light for the Fed pivot. The thing Wall Street is completely obsessed with where they finally stop hiking interest rates. Why? Well, because lower inflation means they can take their foot off the brake. Step 3, this pivot pumps new liquidity into the market, which acts like absolute rocket fuel for riskier assets like Ethereum. And then finally, Step 4, because BMR holds so much Ethereum, its own value gets magnified as the price of its massive holdings just spikes. See, it's a domino effect. And it all starts with that one little number. So, here's the bottom line. This is pretty much a binary outcome. It's one or the other. If the CPI report is cool, the bull case plays out, that big bet on Ethereum pays off beautifully. But if that CPI number comes in hot, the whole thesis just unravels. The stimulus doesn't show up, key technical levels on the chart fail, and it becomes a really bad story for all risk assets. The stakes are just incredibly high. Okay, so we got the macro trigger, but how does that actually translate to the stock chart? Let's take a look at the technical roadmap. These are the specific price levels that traders are going to be watching like a hawk. First up is what the source is calling the launch pad. We're talking about the support zone right around $39.50. This is the absolute must-hold level. It's the line in the sand. For this rally to even have a chance of starting, this price floor has to stay solid right after that CPI number hits. Now, if the launch pad holds, the next level to watch is the breakout trigger at 41.88. You can think of this as the starting gun for the race. A really decisive move above this price, especially if it's on high volume. That's the technical green light that the uncertainty's gone and the bulls are now in control. And once that trigger is pulled, the path could open up to what's being called a magnet, $5,059. So why a magnet? Well, because that's the stock's 50-day moving average. For technical traders, and all the trading algorithms out there, getting back above this line is a huge psychological and mechanical signal. It flips the whole story from bearish to bullish and can set off waves of automated buy orders. But look, a rally this big, it needs more than just a single catalyst and some lines on a chart. It has to have a massive fundamental story behind it. And that brings us to the 4 pillars of belief. The core reasons why this stock is seen as being in the perfect spot for this exact moment. The thinking here is that these 4 pillars are creating a perfect storm. You've got a massive digital treasury. You've got validation from some of the smartest investors out there. You've got conviction from the company's own leadership and a whole course of agreement from Wall Street analysts. Pillar 1 is all about the sheer scale of this thing. We're talking about a 13.2 billion digital treasury. BMR is the #1 Ethereum treasury in the world, holding 3.5 million ETH tokens. And get this, their stated goal is to acquire 5% of the entire global supply. That makes them not just a player, but a massive force in this whole ecosystem. And when you got a treasury that big, you expect the big players to get involved, and they are. That's Pillar 2. Cathie Wood's ARK Invest just snapped up $9 million worth last week. And not just in their main fund, but across their internet and fintech funds, too. That's a huge signal they see BMR as a core part of the future of finance. And they're not alone. They're joined by over 120 other institutional firms. Pillar 3 is about conviction, and this comes from the very top. The chairman, Thomas Lee, who's a super respected market analyst himself, said this recent dip in Ethereum was an attractive opportunity. But he didn't just say it. He put his money where his mouth is, authorizing the company to go out and buy another 110,288 ETH. I mean, come on. When the guy who knows the company's books better than anyone goes on a shopping spree, that is the ultimate insider signal. And all of that leads us right to our final pillar, the Wall Street chorus. It makes sense, right? When insiders and smart money are buying, analysts tend to follow suit. The stock has a strong by consensus rating with an average price target of $75, which is that 85% upside we started with. This chart really shows you just how undervalued Wall Street thinks this company is right now. So let's ball this all together. The best way to think about this stock, according to the thesis, is as a coiled spring. You have this fundamentally strong company. It's been validated by smart money, by insiders, by Wall Street. It's already in a powerful long-term uptrend. It's just waiting. It's waiting for that one external trigger, that CPI report, to release all of this energy that's been building up inside. But, this story is bigger than just one stock and its potential rally. It brings up a final, and I think a really important question that's worth thinking about. Okay, so the bull case is that BMR is the best way to invest in Ethereum. But their ambition, remember, is to own 5% of the entire global supply. If one single publicly traded company actually pulls that off, if they centralize that much of a supposedly decentralized asset, what does that mean? What are the broader implications for the entire DeFi ecosystem? The whole world of decentralized finance that's built on these assets. That's the big question to keep in mind as this all unfolds. Stay tuned because the next update here could really change the game. Thank you for watching.